Hi everyone. Um, Today I'm gonna be discussing about how can I read the JSON data from S3 and then just ingest it into Databricks using autoloader and then create bronze, silver, and gold table and create a full medallion architecture. Um, this so let's get started without any delay. If you guys really find things useful, and if these things are really helping you, please do support. Let's get started. So for today, I'm going to use Claude. I'm just using Claude to get the examples, what I can do actually with. So I wanted to read it from S3 and then do a transformation. I would like to use the PySpark code instead of using the first one is, so I am using PySpark code as well as I can use SQL wherever uh, things are okay. So basically you are ingesting into a raw layer, you are reading from a data frame, and I'll be using the auto, like this is the structure how it looks like. So I am using loading data from a JSON source such as S3 and loading into a bronze table using an autoloader, cloud files format, or delta table set. So these are the three options which you have to load your JSON data directly onto a bronze table. Then you use a Cloud engine. Basically, I'm not using Cloud engine here. I am just using the PySpark code to flatten the JSON recursively and detect skew as well as SQL generation, and so that I can get a silver table which is clean, which has a clean data and has a valid schema, and so that I can apply the merge and upsert on that. So I'll just use the can you provide full Spark SQL code from ingesting data from S3 until we get the silver table, silver table, silver table in SQL, in Databricks for a JSON file, for a JSON object. So JSON data is like a standard format which is used. If people, why I chose JSON format? Because it's a standard format from the platforms. My apologies. That is being used. Even if you look at the social media companies, they kind of they have their standardized format for using JSON, and that kind of helps. So in this, there are multiple steps involved. So I just want to the main part I would be focusing on is using an autoloader. I want to read using an autoloader so that even if you have a large file and there is a daily refresh which is happening in the JSON backend object, which is so you only pick up the latest changes based on your event date timestamp. Yeah, this is not a perfect code, and it may vary from one production environment to another production environment. However, it does give you a lot of hint about what is happening in the prod environment and how you actually deal with Ingestion. Ingestion is something which is also a critical part for a data engineer. So it depends on which end you are at. You can be at the data ingestion part, or maybe you are at the data transformation part, or maybe you are at the data consumption part, depending on your role. And depending on your requirement. But it's good to understand from source to target. So without delay, let's move on to here. I already created a streaming table. Why do we use streaming table? So the reason for me creating a streaming table is whenever there are changes happening in the backend JSON data object, whenever there are new events which are being added, it is directly streamed to this. We just get it through the autoloader. Let's see how it works. I'll paste the whole part of it here, and you can see that your code can be of whether it is Python, SQL. I will just choose SQL, right? Now it will change, right? Which is nice in it is saying if there is a bronze, silver, you can create catalog. If not exist, my catalog. So you're creating a separate catalog for yourself. And catalog, I actually showed you, right, the place wherein you have your tables and views within a schema, and you define your catalog, and then you can further create your table and views. The difference between table and views, you can even see the object table and a view. And you can also see the best part about is you can see the history of the table. When was it? You have to use the compute. So you will see it takes a few seconds to get started. Yeah. So you can see the history and the version of the table. And if you accidentally wrote the data, but you want to revert back, you can restore the table to an earlier version based on the version number. And it also shows who actually modified the table, what sort of operations were run on the table. So it's like a detail, and this is quite helpful, right? It can tell you what sort of operation is. It's like because we ran a full query, so it shows up as the operation parameters and the notebook which actually made the change to the table, and the user. This is I am the user, so that's why. And let's get back to our code. So I will split this code. I'll ask Claude to split up the code into multiple cells because I want to see the output at each cell, so that even if we are making an error, we are able to debug or detect that error, so that in the final output we have a clean data which we can use for our own purposes. So let's get back to Claude again. This looks good, but again, that's the whole point of using Claude. I don't want to. I want to fully automate everything and remove my manual task. Can you split the uh, above code into cells so that I can run each cell and see the output, right? So restructuring code into executable cell format. And and I can just go step by step, right? At each step. So it created a schema, and describe, like I already did the creation of my table by using my S3 bucket URL. So what I would do is I would not even delete it. I will just remove this cell, and then again I would check whether my table actually exists or it doesn't exist. Let me see my catalog, because I know that my catalog is actually this is my catalog. So if I go in here, so I have multiple views, and so I would see whether it exists. My catalog refers to your catalog which you have, and it's like describe table extended. I don't know whether it exists or not. So what does it say? Let's see the diagnose of error, like what is the error we are getting. And even to fix your error, you have the Genie in here. I mean, Genie is good enough to help you debug your errors. So it says the root cause of your error in the SQL cell is a namespace issue, right? So can you fix it for me, right? I'll just ask Genie to fix it for me. Can you fix it for me, right? Like, can you fix the below error for me? So understanding the things is more important for me. So it will fix up the error. So it has fixed up the error. I just want to check whether the table which I created is table or view bronze events cannot be found. Verify the spelling correctness. Bronze dot event is not found, right? I did create the table though. So let's get back. So this says you can also use this to check whether this actually exists or not. Let's run this part to see the data directly from our S3 bucket. So S3 bucket, let's see whether it actually works or not. I think it will show up an error because I had to also change this parameter. You know, it will. Let's change this because it has to be your path, and it will take a while to run because it will be reading from your S3. It will also infer the schema. It will show you the first 10 rows. See what the autoloader is picking does not write anything, just shows you the raw data. So it says I do not have the access, so I have to set up an IAM role for my this bucket. So here I come, like I have to put up an IAM role for my IAM access grants. So how do you set up an IAM role for your S3 bucket? Let's see, how do you IAM role is nothing, just allowing a user to access the bucket, so that not everyone, because in a production environment or an enterprise environment, not every user can access all data. So how do you create an IAM role for your S3 bucket? So go to console. So what you do is you create an IAM role, and then attach the policy you just created as three orders. Once created, open the role and edit the rest policy to look like this, or you know. Uh, so you have to create a link between your Databricks as well as AWS in order to even use the S3 bucket. Can we find a workaround? Maybe we can. Let's see, because I don't want to deal with. Um, it's going to take a longer time. I don't want to spend that much of time into just doing things. Like, let's see, data ingestion should be there, right? Wherein is the data ingestion, right? Instead of, yeah, like it says you can directly connect from create an external location. Let's see how it works. AWS quick start, bucket name. Let's see the bucket name. What is the bucket name we have? This is my S3 URI. This is my bucket name. This is my bucket name. Um, Generate an access token, copy and paste into Databricks personal account field of the generate a new token, right? So you can generate a token. So how can I do it using a PAT token, right? Let's see. How can I do it using a PAT token by ingesting data through data ingestion, because there has to be a workaround, otherwise it's going to take a longer time. Data ingestion in Databricks using AWS S3, right? AWS S3. So I'm not sure whether it is aware of it. So what you do is you copy this PAT token and put it somewhere here. And what is it saying? It's saying store AWS credential, Databricks secrets, never hard code AWS keys in notebooks. Use the Databricks secret API via CLI. Alright, pip install Databricks CLI, create a scope. Where do I run this? So a PAT token, what do you do is access token, generate a new token, store AWS credentials in Databricks. So what you do is you go in there. So I want to connect first. The whole thing is PAT to authenticate to Databricks, your local machine. Read from S3, right? How do I connect this with S3, right? That's the whole thing. So this is so let's get see how it works for a while. Not recording. So we'll continue with the middling architecture for the JSON data object. So what I have done is I have loaded the JSON object onto a catalog, which you can see. So I created my own catalog. Then I created my own schema. So this is my schema, and this is my catalog data pipeline 2026. So what you can do is I created this items 2026. This is a JSON object, as you can see, the columns as well as the other things. So I can also look at the sample data. So the main objective of showing the JSON transformation is it is a bit tricky to flatten the JSON and then extract the columns and the rows and the respective values for those columns. And often there are errors. So as you can see, this is a JSON object. It wasn't created through the runtime. It is a managed object created today. And also the other properties. Data quality monitoring is disabled, and you can also see through the history. I mean, these all these things are really useful when you actually run into data pipeline errors. So, and permission, I mean, since there are no principal associated with it, so it's not going to have insights. It's disabled. It does show you something, but again, I'm not sure how good it is. So this is all it helps. So we'll go back to our code now. We can see that we can describe the schema. Like I can just describe, I don't even need to do this, I can just describe it and I will get the schema of the this JSON object and I'll see all the columns. For example, I have created timestamp, customer still has the address, country code, the other attributes are still in there. So I have to extract categories as well as the warehouse. There's so many other things which I have to further extract. So let's get started. So let's go to our code. So this is just to check the schema and this is to check the data within the JSON object. Yes, and as you can see, there are categories, right? And in the categories also, you have electronics, gadgets, and further in the customer, you have an address, right? So for each customer, you should be able to extract the address, right? That's the whole point of preparing the data for. And let's go to Cloud now. I already did this part. I did struggle with connection with S3. But the thing is, I cannot connect S3 with the community edition. So that's something which is not allowed based on your cluster type. So you need to have a general compute or should be able to create a compute. That's pretty much it is. And now what we do is, since we have this bronze orders table, right? They call it bronze orders. I have called it items.json. So what I can do is I rename it. Let's see whether can I rename the can I rename this table? I'm not sure. Let us see details. Can you rename it? Can you rename the table? Maybe you can. So you can rename the table as well. So it makes your task much more easier because I want to use the same table as bronze orders. I don't wanna because it's again it will reflect the change. Let's name it as bronze orders. Now my table name has changed, and if I check this again, it is the same table but with a different name. I just renamed it. So let me see whether it is going to show me the same schema. I hope so. So it does show me the same schema, and I can also check whether it has the same data as the previous one. So you just go in here, so it changes, right? So that's what it is. It's a good feature. Let's use the further PySpark code. It doesn't matter. You can, and basically a data frame is a like a SQL table with. So it hardly makes any difference. So let's use the same code. What I'm going to do is I'm going to clean up the data from the bronze and make some changes to it, clean it up. And so what is actually happening in there is I'm selecting all these columns, customer ID, customer name, customer address, by excluding your items alias. And then I am selecting by, yeah, so let's run this first, see what does it do. Bronze TF is not fine, so I have to create a bronze TF. Is basically a data frame created based on your um, table, right? The bronze table it was actually reading it, but what I'm gonna do is you can do it either ways. You can create a bronze TF. Bronze TF is not defined, so I need to define the bronze TF. What does it actually stand for? So this is actually your bronze TF. What you do is to so what you do is this is your table, right? Or I mean, it's up to you, right? So spark.read, spark.sql, you can just say, oh, instead of doing everything in here, right? File JSON, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go here. So this is my, let's see what it does. Because basically what I'm doing is I'm reading the JSON object from my catalog. Does it work? Let's see, it doesn't work. Let's make use of Genie because these are real-time errors and it does. I mean, your code is never smooth unless you have a pipeline which has been running for a while now and you have already fixed the minor errors which occur. So this is basically reading data from. So yeah, it does it for you. What does it? What did it change? It just changed the path. So I have to use the path slash tbfs. That's it. And let's read it. Multi-line is true. Proof public DFS root is delayed. Access is denied. Let's see what does it say. No idea why is it causing an error. I'm gonna see what is the issue, right? Allow. So public dbfs root cause of there is that unity log serverless environment and public dbfs. So what should I do? You know, the last option is I just create a data frame from the existing table. That's it. I don't care about what's gonna happen. So it's updating the cell now. Let's see what does it do. And now it again wants to read from S3, which I don't want to do it. That's bullshit. That's something I wouldn't do it. Reject. So what I would do is I'll just remove this everything, and I would say, oh no, this is the table, right? I'm reading this table, right? It's put in a SQL statement, right? Why? It's like too much to do, right? So what I would do is I would just cancel this spark.sql, and I'll just put this in within a single quotes, yeah, and see how it goes. Spark.sql, create or replace. Let's see what error does it show, and I will just debug this. I will just create a data frame from the existing table itself. I don't want to read it from S3. I already spent a lot of time doing it. So still reading it. It's gonna modify my code. And this is how you make use of Genie. I think it can be sometimes a time-taking process, but again, it's all right. You don't have to. For example, what was the error? Let's run this. Now you have the bronze TF, right? Now your bronze TF is ready. It is like saving this table as bronze orders, which I already have. So it will again show up an error. Oh, like, why are you saving this table as bronze orders? Although I'm reading the same table, right? So it will still run because the table exists and the count is 2 because we just have 2 rows. Let's move forward to our, we are just going to flatten the data, right? We just going to extract these attributes from the table rows based on the timestamp. Let's run this to get a silver table. No structure field find. Because it's based on it might be based on a different data set. Let's align it with our data set it will adapt itself. My main process is not to fix the SQL code in here. I am here to show how you can actually use a JSON object within Databricks, flatten it using PySpark. I mean, the syntax you can fix using multiple tools, but to understand what is happening, that's something is quite important. So I don't know what it's told. A SQL div. So now it's editing, So what it has done is it has changed the customer attributes, right? So let's run this. Accept the change. Silver DF. So order ID. Let's run this. What does it do? Now I have a silver DF, right? So I can see in the silver DF now I have order ID. Based on the order ID, you have customer ID, customer address city, customer address country code, customer loyalty tier. So what am I doing is the main I'm selecting order ID from what? By exploding this items column, I'm selecting all these attributes, right? As you can see, in the yeah, this customer has address, customer ID, address city, address country code, loyalty tier, customer email, payment, amount sent, payment security, currency, right? So I am extracting these and then I'm selecting. Then what's the second part, right? The second part is you are based on the timestamp, you attach a timestamp to it, right? That's what you are just attaching a timestamp to each respective customer attribute you have extracted. That's pretty much what you are doing. This is done. Let's move on to the next part. So silver is basically you are extracting the customer details from the out items alias item. So if you look at this item, you will have this second attribute which will help you get all the details, right? From items itself, you have customer, items, order ID, and all these things, right? So yeah, let's move on. As you can see, the first order ID, you have a customer this who which lives in this city with this country code with this on this street and this much of payment is made. That was the price of the item SKU and transform that, right? So this is done. Bronze DF is done. Silver DF is done. Now what you do is you write the silver DF as a silver table, silver orders. So let's see this. So I'm just gonna write this silver DF as a silver table. Let's see where does it write. I know. And then you can also see the 10 records, right? Now, if you go back to your catalog, you refresh it first, to see whether you have that bronze orders, silver claims is there, gold order is there. Let me refresh it on the top and silver claims. So this is silver order, right? So if I go in here, save table as silver orders, right? So I should be able to see this table anywhere, right? It doesn't matter, irrespective of where we do. I think it has to write um, silver table. I have to use the schema and the catalog as well in order for it to write at the right place. Because it is writing, but I don't know where it is writing. So now if I run this again, right? Now it will write at the within the same catalog, and if I run this in here, you see, you can see it exists, right? It will exist 100%. So now I can, and if I go back to my catalog, and if I refresh it, I can see a silver orders, right? So you can see that the details, the table, right, and the history of the table. So this is in there, and so the whole purpose is to we can extend it further, right? So it's like the main thing I have used here is to explode the column so that I can get the extracted data in my format, the format which you require, because most of the times we have the JSON files. We may not have the relational data like that normal, like in a format like a relational format, like a SQL table. So in that case, you need to extract, and it's like a pipeline, right? You ingest data from your JSON object, and then you use it um, to load into a bronze table. Then you further make transformations in it, and then create a silver table, and then read data from the silver table to move to the uh, gold table, right? Mostly, uh, I mean, you can also consume data from the silver views, like the silver views on the top of the silver table. So this something I hope it helps. I know it's not, but all these errors which you encounter, they take a lot of time, and especially understanding catalog and the history and lineage. You can also see the lineage, right? So you can see, for example, a lineage graph is there. So I'm reading data from bronze orders, right? And loading data onto the silver table, right? So, and these in upstream and downstream. So, and these are all the tables which I have created until now. So, yeah, and let's see what else can be done, right? If this is what else can be done um, to show better transformation with better transformation, better transformation for uh, transformation. Like it has less data, but for JSON object, we can similarly do it for a large object JSON data. Let's see, because we deep dive into things to understand how they actually work. So we can also do data quality scoring, standardize and clean string text field, derived business. So there are multiple transformations which you can do. Let's try a few of them. So my focus is more on understanding and deduplication. Yes. So these are the things which you can do. Let's start with data quality scoring, right? Let's see how it goes. Go to the data quality scoring, right? So what you do is you paste in here. Let's run this. So this is done, right? Data quality scoring is done. Let's go to the next part, which is cleaning and standardizing string fields. Yeah, you often have to trim the characters, especially the column names and the column values, because they are required to be in this, especially this regular expression and replace function, right? This is quite useful while doing the transformation. This is done. You are masking the email as well. Let's go to the next part. Derived business metrics. So I know I'm not writing the code, but again, you can always take a help of the syntax, because with column is add to a new column, and these are for conditional statements. Whenever the item quantity um, times item price, you have to round it to 2, right? And whenever the item price is less than 10, then you make it yes, otherwise no. And similarly for order value tier, this is a new column you are creating based on payment amount. If the payment amount is more than 500, it's high, medium. These sort of transformation are you doing in the silver layer. That's This is done. Date and time enrichment. Let's do this one as well. I want to show, I mean, like, to whatever my understanding of silver table is, and why do we need this transformation. These are often required, or there may be like more items required. These are still simple, but from an understanding perspective, yes, it is good. Let's So the date and time enrichment is done. Deduplication is often an issue because of duplicate data or like duplicate events. Your code can take a longer time to run. You can have a data skew, and so you can have all those scenarios. So deduplicated silver df dot count parameter payment amount cannot be resolved. So let's see what is payment amount cannot be resolved. Let's debug our code. Allow. Let Genie do its magic, because I mean that's why you need this assistant for helping you out. Otherwise, yeah, it depends on your understanding of the data. If you understand where the data is coming from, what sort of attributes are there, then yeah, partition by clause. It is similar to what the row number and this window functions you have in SQL. So what is happening is you are describing it as a window. You're partitioning by order ID and item SKU, and you're creating a partition based on the transform at this, and then you are deduping it, only selecting the recent row. That's what you're doing. So let's go to the last transform. You also handle nulls and set defaults, which is again, NVL is basically being used to handle nulls or Polish, depending like Polish is there, right? Whenever the payment amount is a null, you replace it with zero. So it's easier for you to pick up in your job or like any other notebook where you are consuming the silver table. Let's create um, last one. So, so what I'm doing now is from silver orders, right? So I want to create a gold view revenue by country, but I still have to use the schema name, right? This one, so that it's easier for me to identify. Otherwise, what you can do is use catalog this. You can use this command each time so that you are able to understand where your table is located, right? So it's easier for your yeah. It automatically picks up. You don't have to even worry about it. So it will run now. Now if I want to see, but I still have to use the schema, right? I don't have to use the catalog, but again, I still have to use the schema. Schema is engine March 2026. So let's run this and see the revenue by country. Tabular view, engine March 26. Loaders cannot be found because there is a naming issue, right? So yeah, it will run this time. What is the customer address country? Do you mean customer address city, customer address country code, customer address street? Let's run the Genie, Let's let Genie do its magic. Once you start understanding it, you will not. I think you will be able to understand. Understanding it, you will be able to do much more, and that's something is required while debugging your data pipelines. Initially, it's gonna be a lot of information, but with time, you get used to it, and you are able to debug the pipelines, fix them wherever. There is an error, and we can run this as a scheduled job as well, right? So that's something which you can do. So I'm allowing myself to actually, I am allowing Genie to make changes to my code based on what it understands, the context. And this is just one functionality of Genie, but so there are so many things you can use Genie for. And that's something. Yeah, it depends on whether your use case, right? Sometimes Genie may give you incorrect data, right? So in that case, you can't totally rely on Genie. So you have to use your own understanding, and your understanding of SQL will help. So So it's still thinking, but now it will change except all. So I don't know what happened. Now let me see. Yeah, let's put this error into your Claude, right? Sometimes you can use multiple tools. So for so it will do everything based on that. Quality scoring columns, this and that, save silver table aggregation. Let's use this aggregation again. How does it work? So I am just going step by step because I like to go step by step. I don't wanna just run very fast. Let's see this. You can directly use them in here. You can read. I don't even have to use the Spark SQL, right? What you can do is you can remove this Python thing, and remove this and remove this. You don't need all these things. Item total is not a column present in my table, right? Item name, item total is actually, let's see our table, right? What is the issue with our table now? Because we have made so many transformation to our table. So we were making changes to our silver DF, right? So we have to write all these changes have been made to 254. This I ran, right? I did run this. Let's see. Because all these changes. So because all those columns have ran, I have to still see. So I think it is making changes to the previous cells as well. It isn't just about. So the genie is much more advanced now. It does make a lot of changes to your other cells. Let's pick up the same code from our fill NA, right? This was for quality scoring. This was for derived metrics. Save silver table like, and this should be something else as well. What's wrong with this part? So dedupe. Let's leave the dedupe part, right? I is fine. I already ran this part. I don't wanna. Can this run? Maybe this can run, right? So let's save all these transformations to our silver table because they still haven't been written to our silver table. These are just within the data frame yet. So what we do is we take the whole set of table location and put in here. I think each step you learn, and it's a bit of a slow learning initially, but again, it depends on the way you look at things. So there is definitely some sort of issue, right? Did you mean column or variable status cannot be resolved? Where is status? Where am I creating the status from? Let's see status, right? Status, status, where am I creating status? So we do not have any status column, right? So that is an issue. Let's start from the beginning because there is some issue happening. What I do is I'll just use the column from here. 6 silver transformation. So display silver DF. So what am I doing is I am using this in here. So let's see what are the columns within the silver DF, right? Display. Why to run everything from the top? I sometimes you don't want to run from the top. So let's see what we have in silver DF. What is this? I want to cancel this. I don't wanna. So what you do is stop this thing. Go diagnose error. Let's see, silver. So how do I see, right? Let's see. It's taking a lot of time, but it's fine. SQL, right? Select asterisk from silver DF, right? Let's see. Select asterisk from silver DF. Silver DF. Or there must be some other way to read it, right? Let me check. Display silver DF, right? Silver DF dot head 10, right? I want to just see 10 records. I don't want to see everything, right? But still shows up an error. Let's see what is the error. So these are real errors. I think you need a lot of patience to even deal with them. So it's okay if someone I don't know what is the error it had, but again let me rerun this to see. I have no idea. Silver DF, right? So I've been doing it, but allow. Let's see what does it do. Still shows up an error, right? So I have no idea. The data frame is missing the column status, but some upstream cell on a Persistent data frame library still expects a column possibly from a missed execution or incomplete session state. Simply editing the display line cannot resolve. I want to see the data in Silver DF, right? That's what I want to see the data in Silver DF. Only 10 rows. That's what I want to do, right? That's what I want to do. To do. Yeah, let's see. Accept, allow. I allow it and to see. Accept. But why is still not running? That's the thing. There is an unresolved column. So the error process because the silver is still being referenced the column status somewhere in earlier transfer clusters has a state contamination from previous even though cell 6 only runs the data frame was not constructed with. Let's start from the top, right? I have no idea why is it working like this. I already did make a transformation, right? So what I did was Let's run this again and see what does it show. Let's see at each step, right? Instead of seeing at the last, see what is happening in each transformation. That's the best way. Instead of waiting at the end, what's happening. So again, there is some issue, right? What is the issue now? Now what is the issue? Let's start from the top, right? Go step by step to fix the error. I mean, these are real-time errors, right? I have no idea about what the data looks like. I'm just trying to optimize my data pipeline. That's what I'm doing. So I'm trying to have order ID, customer email, payment amount based on these conditions. That's how you make use of these assistant for your. So what is saying is I need to recreate the silver data frame. Let's recreate it, right? So what is the silver data frame we have, right? So I have this bronze. Let's go back again to the top. Then here I am creating a silver data frame, right? Let's see. This ran fine, right? Now I am gonna write again onto my table. So what I have to do is I have to use the full path. Instead of just using the specific, either you provide the catalog details, so you again rewrite the table, right? Now you can see the path 100%. And now you can also check it like this. So you have the data, right? Now I do the transformation again, because I reread from the bronze table, but there is still an issue, right? Payment amount cannot be resolved because we do not have any payment amount. Do we have payment amount? We have payment amount in cents. So instead of using payment amount, we should rather use is not null item product ID. Do we have item product ID? Let's see. Do we have item product ID? Item name is there. Item price is there. Item SQU is there, right? So instead of using item product ID, use item SKU, right? That's what we are supposed to do. Like I was doing it wrong. So let's item SKU payment amount in cents, right? Cents. Customer email, check whether all the columns exist or not, right? Do we have customer email? Yes, we do. Order ID? Yes, we do. Based on this, you are creating a quality score, right? Now you run it. It may fail, but if it doesn't, um, no, it should work now, 100%. Yeah, it would. Why is it payment amount? Where is this payment amount coming from? I have no idea payment amount since. So let us check. Did you mean payment amount cents? But I did check it, right? Let's rerun again from the top. Our source has to be this best. Let's run this again. Because this is our source, right? Our source still, and I am gonna overwrite. So it's not gonna cause problem. Append is when you want to add the new data, but since I'm not adding a new data, I'm writing onto the same table. Let's see whether it works now or not. So silver DF, I'm creating columns, quality score column, right? From silver DF. Um, First, let's check before running this. Let's check what columns do we have. I am like these are the columns I have in my silver DF. Payment amount cents, item SKU, item price, customer email. This will work 100% this time, because we are doing the transformation. If I run this again, it will work 100%, right? Now, what we have is Customer status, do we have a customer status column? Not sure. You create a column status using, um, there is no status column in our table. I don't know. So what do you do is you have a quality score, but I do not have any status column, right? Customer name. So what I do is I remove this. Just remove this. Who cares? Like, did it work? Yes, it did. Let's check. So you have to see at each step, whatever transformation you are doing, is it actually working? So did you name customer name, right? Customer name doesn't exist, and I'm trying to modify customer name, right? But there is no customer name. Yes. So I have to remove this as well. So because there is no customer name. There is only customer email, you know. So what I do is I remove this. I want to remove the transformation, which I'm not doing. Just remove them. It's fine. There's no. It's just for understanding. That's why I'm saying the column may not exist in the source. And what you have to do is now you have to rerun it from the top. That's what happens. Each time if you make mistakes, that's what is gonna happen. So you rerun this again and you rewrite the table again. Necessarily, you don't have to rewrite the table again, but again, to be on the safer side, yes, you can do that. And so, and now you run this transformation, it will work. This will work. So you have to check whether you have payment currency is there, right? Payment currency is there. Yes, it is there, right? You trim it. And customer email mask. Mask is not there. It's just customer email, right? Not a customer email mask. So what you do is you remove this because this column does not exist. No, no, it does. It does. Sorry, we are renaming the column. So customer email now is mask, right? To run this, now you will be able to see the data frame, right? Yeah. Similarly, at each step, now you can see you will have a new column which is your customer email is masked as well as in that case, payment currency, we have just trimmed this left and right spaces. So now we have item quantity, which is actually item total is item quantity times item price. It can be done. Item discount applied is what? Item price, if is less than 10, less than, just make it less than 50, right? Less than 50. Because 10 is, there is only one value. I want to not just and with column order when payment amount is greater than, let's look at the payment amount. So do we have payment amount? I'm not sure, right? We have payment amount sets, right? So you have to make sure you use the right column names, otherwise it is again gonna cause problem, which we have already dealt with. So I don't want to do the same thing again, but this is real time. That's what happens. You miss out on certain things and you have to redo it. So now you can check at this step whether it did work or not. So this is actually a transformation happening, and I want to show at each step what is happening, right? Now you can see that you have a discount applied, order value tier, item total, right? And now what you do is you create a column created at using created at. So I'm not sure whether we have a created at column. We have transformed at, but not a created at. So again, there is again a gap, right? So what you do is copy the column name from, it's fine. You can rename the column as created at. So an order year, which is actually the value from year, okay, from transform that you can get the, and similarly order month, and similarly day of week, these are like the real transformations. And order hour, you can also get the order hour, right? So because it is a timestamp, right? You can, if you can look at the data, it is a timestamp. Um, so can we run this? Let's see, let the magic begin. It ran. I want to see what are the transformations which have happened. So this is let's see. Yeah, you can see that you have order year, order month, order of day, order hour, right? So this is based on the JSON data, right? Silver DF, fill NA. So we do not have any payment currency cents, payment currency, right? USD, item quantity, item price, payment amount. So what you do is make it here, right? Now you can see it is working. It will work now, it has to. And now what we do is we write all these transformations onto our silver table. Yeah. What is the schema mismatch detected? So what you do is there is a new schema, right? So what do you do now? Like, let's infer there's a schema evolution, which happens. That's where the Databricks comes into play, It will show you that how you can actually even merge, even if the schema has evolved over a period of time. So, so schema, it says like you alter the table, right? Or what you do is silver modified, right? Instead of saying, oh, I'll just say modified, modify orders. Like create a new table, right? After modifying your silver table. That's what you do. Yeah. Now you can come here, and you can see there will be a silver modified orders, right? And you can see there are multiple columns, right? That's a real time creation of a pipeline. I think it's at a production level because you will encounter errors, and which is very normal. It won't be very smooth, and then you can let's run the instead of using this, what you do is it's like a, I'm not sure, customer entry address. It will show me like in case there is an error, it's fine. I'm just gonna pick up the respective columns based from the Genie, right? So you can see, right? So that's how it has. Which notebook created it? Right, serializable, timestamp. This is a version 0. All operations. You can also select which type of operations you want to see, whether update, delete, and all these things. So it's gonna update my notebook. Gold is like aggregation, right? That's what is happening in gold layer. Mostly aggregation to get the revenue or like let's run it now. Let's see how it goes. So you can see, right, for US, total orders are 2, total revenues, average order is this. You can apply the same logic on a larger table. So what you can do is you can schedule this as a notebook, remove the first part, I don't need it. And what I can do is, yeah, so this is like I can request a new file, like based on this one. And I can rerun all the cells and then I will have a different data, right? Let's do it. Let's try doing it because I will tell it that this is the file data I had. I want more of this data. Can you provide more of this data for me? Can you provide a large data set? provide a large data set which has like 20,000 rows. So I mean that's the main game, right? Of the same type, same type. So I will ingest it. Ingestion, I'm doing it manually, but it can be done through autoloader as well. Yeah, so let's show you manual first. An autoloader is like whenever there is an event change happening, you pick it up, the recent events, and then put up and you write onto the bronze table, right? They append the records onto the bronze table. So it's gonna create a random records. I want to just test whether my notebook works on it or not, right? That's what I wanna see. I will just populate the table and I'll just schedule this job and I will run it as a job. So let it do first. I know this video is a bit longer, but again, um, I mean, it kind of helps you to understand, right, what you are doing in terms of like how does a schedule notebook works, what are the errors while you run them in prod. There are so many things here. So what I'll do is so I copied all of the data, and I'll just open my VS Code. And what I will do is I'll create a new file, or I'll just open a file, the same file. I don't know why it's a bit slow for me today. I will do is I will just go in here, I'll paste all the data, right? So I have a lot of data now. Don't have to worry. And I'll just close this and I'll go to my bronze orders, right? That was the table. And what I will do is I will go to your data ingestion. I will say, oh, I want to modify existing table, right? I don't want to create a new table. This is the file I have. I want to upload to an existing table, right? Or I can say is I can append to an existing table instead of overwrite. Override, you can't append actually. That's the thing. You can select your table name from here, bronze orders, and just do it. I know it's not the best scenario to do it, but again, I'm just trying to show the functionalities and things which you can do using Databricks. Yeah, let's run this. And in the meantime, what I'm doing is I'm gonna schedule this whole notebook. Um, so I'm gonna schedule this as a job. Add schedule, as a job. Not every day. I want to just run it once a week. And yeah, it's like, yeah, it's fine. Like create schedule. So what I can do is close this in here. I think this should be loaded. This is loaded. Now you can see the history as well. Like I loaded a new data to the table, right? There's a version 1. I go to the jobs and pipelines now. JSON data read, right? What I will do is task. Does it have a task? It does have a task. Let's run this. See, does it work? I don't know. Let's see. will show you the run now. It will take a while. It's not gonna be very quick because it's gonna take at least a minute or two. At least that's what I'm hoping. That's what my assumption is. It may also fail at a certain cell. I don't know, but again, yeah, that's what it is. Most probably it will not. But in case it does, then we'll just. I triggered it manually. You can schedule the trigger as well. Let's see how long does it take. It just took 49 seconds. And what you do is you see the silver modified, right? You have a lot of data in here, right? Yeah, you can see, right? It has been populated and it's a scalable pipeline, right? It works smoothly even in production environment. And if you go to the notebook, right? If you go to, you can also go to the notebook from here, right? You don't have to actually, yeah, you can just go to the notebook directly from the task and and see the last one, right? The gold layer, the aggregation. Like I won't call it like because yeah, just for our you can use the same data. Let's. I want to just see key how did it work? Was it good, bad? I don't know. Let's run this. It will have a lot of data now. Yeah, it will have like AU, US, GDP, revenue, and you can do whatever you want to with this data. You can write this actually as a gold table. Let's ask Genie to do that. Can I write this as a gold? Can I write this as a gold view, right? Not table, gold view. Let's see. I don't know. Ah, so that I don't have to come back again and again here, right? I just run it and use the view. That's it. What is it? Create or replace view, gold country orders, and select this. Let's see what is the diagnose the error, right? I mean, I'm trying to use the assistant tools as well as yeah, yeah. So it's like the understanding of things. So yeah, basically, but it is interesting, It slows you down a little bit sometimes, but it's okay, because I was using Python cell, that's the problem. So I run this now. Yeah, now if I go up here, I can see there is a gold orders view created, Yeah. So where's the gold orders? Gold country orders, right? And and it is a view. It's not a table, right? You can see that it's not. And you can also see the definition of the view in here, right? And you can see the sample data in here, right? So with this, I think this is like a production level pipeline. I think there can be multiple transformation involved, but again, I'm I have created these sort of tables just using the sample data and all these things. I hope this video is able to make you help you understand how catalog and how jobs and so how how you can use code from both format, even Spark or Spark SQL, and get these things done. So Databricks is like I just kind of like it. It's so smooth. Yeah, it has made data pipeline transformation, orchestration, everything is so easy. With this, I would like to end this video. And if you really like what I do, please consider subscribing and liking my video. Thank you.